Hey folks, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for checking out my videos, and if you could please like and subscribe, and I will continue to make more videos for your enjoyment and education. So today we're going to be looking at the song Crazy by Patsy Cline. This song was written by Willy Nelson, and Patsy Cline released it in 1961. And by 1996, it was the most played song on country radio. So let's get into the song here. There's going to be some, if you're not used to kind of a little bit of jazz chords and definitely some bar chords, then this song is going to be perfect for introducing that. If you're not comfortable with bar chords, this might not be the song for you quite yet, but if you are starting to get into bar chords or comfortable with them, then the song is going to be perfect. So let's get into it. So like I said, this song is going to be including some bar chords, and there's definitely a big key change at the very end of the song. So when I'm talking about any of the chords, it's obviously going to be in relation because we have to have a capo on the 3rd fret. So if I'm saying an A minor, it's going to be in relation to the capo on the 3rd fret. But when we get into the key change, we're actually just going to be using, and I'm going to describe the bar chords according to actual bar chords, like an E major bar chord or a G sharp major bar chord, and that will not be in relation to the actual capo. It'll just be the actual bar chords for the key change at the end. So the song is pretty straightforward in its structure. Again, there's going to be a couple jazz chords and stuff like that in there. So it's a very slow tempo song, and it's with a bit of a swing to it. So what the strumming hand is going to be doing is basically a down up the whole time. So just on the G chord for the intro, you're going to have this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's going to be basically the count for the entire song. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's going to be your count for the whole song. So the very intro, we're going to have the G chord, and that goes for 1 bar, 4 counts. So 1 and 3 and 4 and then you go to a C9 chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to a G chord for only 2 beats. 1 and 2 and B minor for 2 beats. 1 and 2 and A minor for 2 beats. 1 and 2 and D7 for 2 beats. 1 and 2 and then the verse starts. So let me just play that intro line for you. So G chord, 4 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, C9, 2 and 3 and 4 and C, B minor, A minor 7, D7, and then we're into the verse. Okay. So the verse part here, so the G chord in the starting with the verse when she first introduces Crazy, the first lyric in the song, you're going to have the G chord for 3 beats, then we're going to play an F chord, and then we're going to come into an E7 chord. So the G chord for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and right on beat 4, that's when you're going to play the F chord, 4 and then into the E7 chord, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E7 for 2, 3 for 1 full bar. Then we get the A minor 7 for 2 full bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're going to get a D7 for a bar and a half. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and then we go to an A7 for 2 beats, 3 and 4 and then into a G chord for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and G sharp diminished 7th. So first finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret from the capo, 2nd finger on the 5th string, and that would be a B in relation to the capo. So second fret of the fifth string, and then pinky on the fourth fret of the fourth string. And you're trying to just play the middle four strings, and that's for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and, or actually be 3 and 4 and then A minor 7 for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and D7 for 2 beats, 3 and 4 and then you get into the next part of the verse. So let me just play those 2 lines for you up until the next basically stanza of the verse. So starting with that first verse, Crazy. So G for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and F, and then E7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and D7 for bar and a half, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and A7, 3 and 4 and G, 1 and 2 and G sharp diminished 7th, 3 and 4 and A minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we get into the next part of the verse. So the next part of the verse starts the exact same as the first one. So we're going to get G for 3 beats, F for 1 beat, and then we're into our E7. So same thing, so G for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and F, 4 and E7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor 7 for 2 bars again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and D7 for 2 full bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now G for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and A minor for 2 beats, A minor 7, 1, 3 and 4 and B flat diminished 7th for 2 beats. So the what I do is I put my second finger on the first fret from the capo, third finger on the second fret, fourth string. So second finger on the fifth string, first fret from the capo, third finger on the second fret, fourth string, and then I put my pinky on the second fret of the second string, and you want the third string open for this B flat diminished 7th. So 2 beats on that one. So 1 and 2 and then we go to a G, 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let me just play those 2 lines for you. So G for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on an F, E7, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor 7, 2 beats, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now D7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and G, 2 beats, 3, A minor 7, 3 and 4 and B flat diminished 7th, 3 and 4, or sorry, 1 and 2 and G, 3 and 4 and now we get into kind of a bridge section basically in this song. So this starts with the C chord, and so you're going to do the C for a bar and a half. So C chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and then we're going to do a D diminished 7th. So you're going to be up here, D diminished 7th. So from the capo, you're barring the 1, 2, 3, 4th fret from the capo, second finger on the 5th string, 6th fret, third finger on the 7th fret from the capo, 4th string, and then pinky on the 7th fret, 2nd string from the capo. So that's your D diminished 7 in relation to the capo. Okay, so that one's on beat 3, and that goes for 2 beats, 3 and 4 and into your G chord for a beat and a half. 1, yeah. So this this part here, we're going to get into a little bit of bar chords, and then we're going to make a bit of a shift here. It's got a really cool sound. So you got one full bar of the G, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then what you want to do is go to a full bar chord at that point in that next bar, and then you're going to do a full G bar chord in relation to the capo, and then you're going to go one beat there, you're going to bring it down to G flat, you're going to bring it back, same shape, to a regular G, and then bring it up to A flat. So it's like, and then we're into an A7. And that goes for 2 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then D7 to sort of finish off this phrase, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then it goes into the next verse, basically. So let me play that sort of the bridge kind of slash chorus section. So starting with the C, beat a bar and a half, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and D diminished seventh, 3 and 4 and G chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and turn it into a full bar chord, 1 2 3 4, A7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and D7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we get into the next verse, which starts exactly the same as those other 2 verses. So G for 3 beats, F for 1 beat, E7. So G, 1 and 2 and 3 and F, 4 and E7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and A minor 7, 1, 2 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now we're going to get this line. Each chord is going to be only 2 beats. So we got the C for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and B minor, 3 and 4 and A minor 7, 1 and 2 and E7, 3 and 4 and back to A minor 7, 1 and 2 and D7, 3 and 4 and then G for 2 beats, 1 and 2 and this is where we're going to get into the full bar chords, which is in no relation. This is where the key change is going to happen, and then we're kind of disregarding the capo basically to get to this next part. So let me just play it up to there for this last verse into this key change. Now when I do this key change, the first chord of the key change is going to be an F sharp 7 chord, and that's going to be played on the 9th fret. So that's going to be the very first chord in this key change transition, which we're going to go into full bar chords, and again sort of disregarding the capo or anything like that, and we're just going to play the rest of the song in full bar chords in the proper names and the proper kind of places around the fretboard. So let me get into this last verse. I'll play this F sharp transition chord, and then we'll get into the key change here. So G for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and F, 4 and E7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and C chord, 2 beats, 1 and 2 and B minor, A minor 7, 2 beats, 2 E7, 2 beats, A minor 7, 2 beats, D7, and then G for 2 beats, and then we hit our F sharp 7 on the 9th fret, and that's going to be our key change chord. Now when we're in the key change, again all these chords are going to be just basically as if you're playing just bar chords. So we're going to do a regular B major chord on the 7th fret, barring all 6 strings. So the root's going to be on the 6th string, 7th fret. So this is your regular B major bar chord with your root on the 6th string. So you got the B major for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3, and then you just go the second fret from the so yeah, again, just I have to sort of sometimes remind myself that I'm just playing bar chords now in this transition, and I have to just relate these notes that are regular on where the fretboard is. So B major on the 7th fret, A major on the 5th fret with no relation to the capo again, and then we're going to go to G sharp major, right? And then we can actually do a G sharp 7. So that's actually what we're going to do there. So G sharp 7. So B major for 3 beats, 1 and 2 and 3, and A major 5th fret, 4 and then G sharp 7 on the 4th fret. So B major 7th fret, A major 5th fret, G sharp 7 on the 4th fret for 1 bar. So B, 2 and 3 and 4 and G sharp 7 for 4 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we just drop straight down the string to get the C sharp minor 7 for 2 full bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we go up to the E major with the root on the 5th string, and then so we got 2 beats on that. Then we go to a D sharp minor chord, 6th fret, 2 beats on that. C sharp minor chord on the 4th fret of the guitar, which is 2 beats there. Then we go back to that G sharp 7 with the root on the 6th string, 4th fret of the guitar, 2 beats. Then we go back to the C sharp minor 7, drop down a string, root on the 5th string, 2 beats there. Then we go back up to the 9th fret for the F sharp 7, and then we play our B major chord. Okay, so let me play this whole key change part there for you. So we're going to start with the B major 7th fret, root on the 6th string. So 3 beats there, 1 and 2 and 3 and A major 5th fret, 1 beat, 4 and G sharp 7 4th fret, 4 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and just drop everything straight down. 2 full bars on the C sharp minor 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then the next line we got E major, root on the 5th string, 2 beats, 1 and 2 and D sharp minor, 3 and 4 and C sharp minor, 1 and 2 and G sharp 7, 3 and 4 and back to the C sharp minor 7, 3, 1 and 2 and then up to the 9th fret for the F sharp 7, and then you play your B major chord, and then you're going to do this E, and then you end it off with the B. So I'm going to play that up to speed and without really calling all the chords. So we're starting with this is the key change part, starting with the B major. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now up to the E major. And then E major, B. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I know it's a pretty involved lesson with bar chords, and the main thing is the counting, and it gets a little tricky when it comes into that key change, but those are all the parts, those are all the proper ways to play the song with the proper chords and the chord duration, how long they last. So again, thank you for checking out this video and checking out my channel. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.